Welcome. Thank you for coming into my corner in my home. I would like to do a somatization, tell a story about liver. My liver, your liver, our liver, the liver. And to begin, I would like to start with the thoracic diaphragm. I'm going to use the skeleton. I'm here by myself. I don't know if you're going to see the skeleton. We'll see. So we'll start with the skeleton. And the diaphragm attaches here along the xiphoid process, that's the lower part of the sternum, and along the lower ribs and to the back, to the spine. The thoracic diaphragm also has two long extensions called the right and left crus. The right crus, C-R-U-S, and the left crus. Together they are called the crura, C-R-U-R-A. Always check my spelling. But the crura come down the front of the spine, all the way down to the tip of the coccyx. Now, unless you're looking at something I drew, other books just have it stopping around L2, 1, 2, or 3. But what I found, for my favorite number over 50 years, is that I haven't met anyone who doesn't have crura all the way to the tip of the coccyx, but I meet most people who don't know they have it, and therefore it's just kind of sitting there, laying there quietly. But I haven't met anyone who can't find it. It's a front support of the spine. So if I lean over, and let me do it sideways, take my sweater off. If I release my back so that it's arched here, it's the crura from T12, where the first rib is, all the way down the front of the spine to the tail. My spine will be supported. There's one on each side right along the front. That's a practice. That's a practice. When I first started 50 years ago, I don't know if it's exactly 50, but that's my fallback number. I thought it only came down to L1 or 3, different on each side. But then I found it went all the way through. So maybe you'll find it too. It's not to make it, it's just to become aware. That's the dilemma of embodiment. It's also the joy when you discover it. That you can't make it, you can't intend it. It'll keep you from getting it. You just have to open the back of your brain. Information comes in the back of the nervous system and comes out the front. This is the front. Wonderful. Imagine whatever. It's free. And intend and focus. But if you want to feel and receive something, open the back. If you have an argument with somebody and you keep coming like this, you'll just keep coming like this, but someone doesn't understand you, then let go. And listen why they don't understand, or you don't understand. I get distracted. All right, so what did I just say? The crura. All right. The reason we're starting with the diaphragm is that the liver, let me wait on the liver. I'll come back to it. The liver is right underneath the diaphragm. So to find your thoracic diaphragm, you poke your fingers, not hard, just palpate gently, but you to feel it. and go under your ribs all the way around to the back. And your diaphragm is coming up inside from there. It's a double dome, 2 domes. Your heart is in the middle, resting. And your heart, the pericardium of your heart is actually attached to the diaphragm. It has to do with its origin. Another story. So you go like this and then make a little cough and you'll feel that your fingers are pressed out. Maybe you'll laugh. Anyway, that's your diaphragm. Then you don't have to cough. You might, again, takes different people different times to feel your diaphragm going around. And then if you lean over, if you're on a chair, you can be on the floor, wherever, and release here, then once you get a feeling there, you can carry it to your tail. Now, when you inhale, and this will be difficult for some people, it was for me. When you inhale, if there's no restriction, that's another thing about embodiment. When you see this finger, when I see this finger on my left hand, I know it's important to me. If I go like this, I don't pay so much attention. No, this one I do. That if there's a restriction in your diaphragm, your xiphoid will be pulled in like that when you inhale. And sometimes people are depressed and through here there'll be like a depression. That's a reversed diaphragm. And many people have that. Over the years I've seen many people. And I had this pulled in. I didn't have it pulled in up here. Some people do. And I feel that that might have to do with our first breath. This is my wondering, it's not a fact, that, you know, when we're first born, do we gasp? And that's that first breath, does it set up a pattern where our inhale is pulling in the front of our diaphragm? What I found when I found it was that my xiphoid was being pulled in on the inhale. And that was because, I don't know if it's because is the right word, but I couldn't take a deep breath. If I took a deep breath, it would hurt. And so I searched for why I couldn't take a deep breath. And what I discovered was that I was pulling in here. And this was indented on the right side, twisted, which affects my back. And so for, not greatly, but asymmetry, many of us, maybe most of us have some asymmetry. I suspect most of us do. That's my experience anyway. But you're not most people. You have to find for yourself. So one of the main practices in the beginning with the diaphragm here, I guess it's about the diaphragm and the liver, is to somehow, I don't know if you can see, figure out, first of all, it's breathing and very quiet egg time to discover sensation. Because in the beginning, if you don't move it, you don't feel it. And if you don't feel it, you don't move it. So it takes time to fool around. You have to really be interested in this stuff. And then persevere. Discipline doesn't help that much because it's intentionality. Yielding, surrender, just surrender to the process. It's not collapse, different. Maybe you have to collapse, I don't know. Only you'll know what it takes. People have told me they've lied on the floor for 6 months before they actually began to move because they were so far away from being in touch with this primal process. Anyway, this is a journey I'm sharing if you're interested, right? If you're still with me, you're a little bit interested anyway, maybe a lot. So anyway, you just, not with breathing, just find the outward movement here. And then once you find it, for some of you it's so easy, you'll skip this part, that you push it out and then inhale. This took me quite a while because as soon as I would inhale, I would pull in. But eventually, when I inhale, it comes out easily now. And that would be true for individual ribs. I wasn't originally going to do this on this, but that's where we are. All right, but I remember from a class recently, a couple weeks ago, someone said that they couldn't get it at all. So I think maybe this is for you. Most people were okay. All right, so feel how you bring out your diaphragm, and then how when you inhale, it widens out. Meanwhile, the double dome is going like this on the inhale, and it goes like that on the exhale. Not this much. And meanwhile, yeah, it's going like this. So on the exhale, feel how the dome is rising and then how it's widening. And as it widens, it doesn't lower that much, but a little bit. It widens. All of this opens here. This is not a cage, by the way. We can treat it like a rib cage, but these are all individually muscled, and they all have movement. So we have really 24 feelers. Even more than the octopus. There must be some classification of 24 feelers. So, inhale, exhale. And this is a practice. Then, we look at the liver. When we look at the liver, we move the lungs. It feels noisy here by myself, but if you're there, it's noisy with you. And you see how the heart is resting just above the liver. Here's the diaphragm, the double dome, the esophagus going through. And the liver is mainly, or it's largely, is a better word, largely on the right. But it also has a lobe on the left. So the liver is here. So when you inhale, if you're not inhibited by an early breath, maybe another kind of traumatic experience would cause that kind of shock. So opening the physical part of your instrument that's playing the shock is helpful to relieve the shock. We all have shocks. Some more horrible than others, but we all have them, and we all have the mechanism to feel the shock. So the shock is overlying this more primordial development that's come through the ages. So if you're always pulling in like that, it might be more difficult to relieve the emotional part of it if you keep playing the same music on the instrument. So by bringing out the ability to play another song, another piece of music, is very helpful for seeing, oh, there are other possibilities than that. It's like, oh, I'm here. Instead of, oh my God, what happened? Or we couldn't absorb it. I'm making kind of a joke. I understand deeply. I understand. And I've learned to transition from the shock to the presence, to being able to accept. So as the diaphragm is coming down, inhale, it will bring down the liver. It'll press down a little bit the liver. You see it's right here. So placing your hands here, inhale and exhale, so that you can do it sitting, lying down, standing, washing dishes. It's kind of like your egg, observing how the sperm is moving through the motion. So as you explore, feel how your liver is lowering and rising, which is different than if you're inhaling by pulling up, then your liver is going to rise on the inhale, and you're going to raise your, what's the word, your gravity center. It's a more fearful one. It's ungrounding. So, really exploring how your diaphragm, as it contracts, it shortens on the inhale. It comes down and widens on the edge. Let there be sound. And then as you can feel, as you open up the back of your nervous system, your brain, your spinal cord, to receive, not to try to figure out what's going on. You won't get it from here. Frustrated you'll get. If you're frustrated, then be frustrated. Or say, let go of your intention. In a way, yield, surrender to not knowing. Eventually you will know. You're created to know. You're created to know because you already did it. You're just uncovering the restrictions. We're not learning anything new. We're just remembering something that's very basic. Then, once you feel your liver going down and up, it's helpful, I'm going to turn this over, to see the gallbladder. The gallbladder is hanging down from the liver. It's the green. And there's a way to stimulate, I think, or facilitate or help you feel the effect of your gallbladder by placing your one finger on your xiphoid process, bottom of your sternum, and one on your lateral line. And your lateral line is where you have a seam on your clothing, but you have one in your body. And in front of that lateral line are your flexor muscles, is your front body. And on the back is your back body, the muscles of extension. And this lateral line is in relationship to your midline. So your midline is here, and it's the midline of the back and the midline of the front. It brings us focused here. The lateral line in fish is what allows them to stay in the school of fish, is the way they can swim and stay together. And I wonder about birds, you know how they flock, that there must be something in this lateral line. I didn't read that, I'm just imagining it here. But I'm imagining it also from my lateral line. So there's a lateral line, and then your midline, and your xiphoid is on the midline. So when you come along your ribs here, and you come about to the halfway point, and it's not exactly where your gallbladder is, but there's something about this point, I call it a reflex point, that I found that helps to locate inside the gallbladder sensation. And the same way halfway in the back, between the midline and the back and the lateral line. And then when you come here, it's like there's a way in which there's my gallbladder. It just helps to find the gallbladder. And there are points like that for the different organs. I think that, I think that acupuncture, thousands of years ago, people played with what was stimulated, perhaps growing, spiraling at the same time. So the gallbladder's here, and what I found was that the gallbladder gives lightness to the liver. So if I just go to my liver, I'm kind of heavy. My voice changed, I got kind of heavy. But then when I feel rather like umbrella, you know how it's like folded, and then you pull down on something and the umbrella opens, and then you release it. Or, I never did this, but a parachute, you pull the, I'm going to say ripcord, I don't know if that's the right word, and it opens out. There's something about the gallbladder hanging there that when you bring it down, the liver becomes light. So I'll just do my part of it. So I'm going to let my liver be heavy. I did that by releasing the tone in my gallbladder. You say, well, how do you do that? Just let it go. And then there's a quality. This takes time. You have to feel it first, and so maybe you just breathe for days and days and days until, there's a line of tonal flow of the gallbladder that brings lightness to the liver, and then you can bring the liver up and down without having to find it through breathing. So find it through this external breathing of air, and then there's this breathing through fluids that's not dependent on it's dependent for life, but not dependent on the movement. And then you can kind of move your liver under your under your diaphragm. Sometimes my mouth just disconnects from my brain and heads off on its own. Or you can move your diaphragm on your liver. See how much movement? That's my diaphragm moving on my liver. And now it's my liver moving under my diaphragm. And then you can move your heart and your lungs. Meanwhile, the diaphragm is grounded through the crura, to your tail, to your feet. It's a little bit of a story. There's always more. I hope that's helpful. I hope it's fun. If it's frustrating, then be frustrated. I mean, frustration is helpful in that it tells us there's something we wished we knew which we don't know how to do. But it's not a doing thing. It's a patient. It requires desire. You go, oh, it's too frustrating for me. I'm not going to do that. I have more important things to do. And that's true. You may have more important things to do. But for those of you who would like to really feel your cellular consciousness, what What is that? It takes time. It takes a lifetime if you really want to get in there and feel yourself and others. It's a transformation of the sperm infusing the egg with knowing. Well, there's a knowing of the egg, right? But there's something, another knowing of motion. Not just of presence, but inspiration. I wish you well and thank you for joining me here in my corner with my friends. Be well. Namaste. Come again.